Welcome, welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I am happy that you stopped by. And today we have a young lady here who is focused on our young people and becoming confident and becoming great leaders and real world business owners. And I just love what you stand for. So, Leah Ellis is a mother of four and the founder of the Society of Child Entrepreneurs, a nonprofit dedicated to helping children ages 6 through 17 build confidence, leadership, and real world business skills through hands on learning. Inspired by watching her own children turn everyday ideas into action, Leah created SoCE to prove that children are capable of meaningful leadership right now. Wow. So, welcome, Leah. I am so honored to have you here and definitely ready to get into this conversation because you are so on point with starting our children young.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. The kids I work with are just fantastic.
I can imagine. So, let me just ask, how did you come about doing this?
So years ago, I owned a daycare and I taught everything to little kids. I taught engineering and I taught games and I taught colors and shapes and letters and I loved teaching. And then we were shut down by COVID. And there's no way around that. I mean, I couldn't undo that at the time. So my husband and I pivoted and we started a small business of our own. And while I was watching, my 4-year-old daughter came up to me and said, Mommy, I want to start a business too. And at first I said, No, you're 4. You can't start a business. And she said, Why? And I didn't have a good answer. I mean, we were living in those unprecedented times of COVID, and there was no good answer for why she couldn't try something we'd never done before. So I let her. And she started her first business, Melody Paints, when she was 4.5. Now she is 10 and a half. She's running her third business and she's junior executive director of our board of directors. She is an absolute powerhouse. But I realized about 3 years ago that she needed other kids to talk business with. It couldn't be just mom anymore. So we started doing some outreach. And then about a year and a half ago, we formally founded our nonprofit, the Society of Child Entrepreneurs. And now we teach dozens of kids through online programs and in-person programs, partnerships with schools and other nonprofit organizations. They're brilliant.
Wow, that is amazing. A 4-year-old got you started.
Yeah. And she keeps me going too. That girl does not slow down.
Yes, and at that age, they have no fear.
Mm-mm.
They have they're just full of exploration. As unlike as we get older, life happens and fear starts to kick in, the what ifs, all of that stuff. Children don't have that.
Nope.
They just don't have it. They come up with an idea. They just want to do it. They don't
They
even
just
think
want to see what
about it.
happens.
Yes, they don't even think about it. It's like, okay, let's see what happens. Wow. So what in your program do you are you like nationwide or how's that work?
Not yet. So right now, all of our in-person programs are here in Wichita. We do have an online platform called the SoCE Circle, and the SoCE Circle has challenges that parents can do at home, that small groups can do in their classrooms. So no matter where you live, you can access those online programs and test SoCE philosophies in your classrooms or in your homes.
Okay, okay, okay. So how's that? How are parents responding? What are they? What's some of the responses you get?
It's amazing to see. Okay, so I'm teaching a class with Habitat for Humanity right now. So when you have a house built through Habitat for Humanity, you have to do sweat equity hours and you have to go do classes and help build your house and everything like that. It's a really hard process, and it's grueling. But they needed something to do with their kids too. So I decided to teach a children's program alongside their adult program. And I pulled in my first group of kiddos and I set up a bunch of craft supplies. And I said, I want you guys to build me a prototype out of these materials. And on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident do you feel that you can do that? And the parents were like, what is this? This is a mess. They can't do anything with this. And the kids are all like 1s and 2s. They don't feel very confident that they can build something out of these materials. An hour and a half later, we had 3 functional prototypes of products that the kids could be selling within the next 2 weeks. And the parents were so proud and impressed by what their children had created, so surprised to see the confidence in their kids explaining the products that they had created. And the kids, when asked again, how confident do you feel that you can build something out of this? Were all across the board a 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was just in an hour and a half. And they looked at me and they were like, Miss Leah, I never thought I could have done this.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So once they built this prototype, um, what the action steps, what came next?
So the next thing they do after they write their prototype is they start doing reiterations of that, making it better, making more of them so that they can do a children's business fair and sell that product. So I want them to have 20 to 50 of that product that they have made that is sellable quality. And while they're working on those reiterations, they also work on learning the merchandising for how to make their booth look attractive for people to come in and writing a pitch. So when somebody walks up and says, what do you do? They know how to explain it. And then their final week in class with me, they work on social entrepreneurship and how if you're a successful business owner, you also give back to your community. So what projects is your business going to fund or support in your community so that you can continue giving back?
Wow. That is some really good stuff, Leah.
Oh,
That's
they're
really
amazing.
good stuff. I'm just honored to meet you and to hear about this work that you're doing because it's getting kids on the right track early.
Oh, absolutely.
Because a lot of times what happens, children have aspirations very, very young. And sometimes adults tell them what they can't do instead of encouraging them to what they can do,
I
which
have a
makes,
trick for that.
okay, let's hear it.
So my sneaky parenting trick, if your kid ever comes up to you and they ask something outrageous, um, they want to create a new product, they want to be out past curfew, like whatever outrageous thing your kid wants to do, instead of saying no, ask them how they're going to make it work. So
Mhm.
for instance, your kid wants to invent something crazy. How does it work? Then they have to get into their problem solving brain and build it. Your kid wants to stay out after curfew. Okay, how does that work while also still respecting the rules of our house and ensuring that you meet your other responsibilities? Okay, if I let you stay out after curfew tonight, how are you going to ensure that you get to school on time tomorrow?
Mm, wow. And they probably thinking, well, maybe that might not work.
Right? But then you put it on their plate. You give them the ownership of the decision. You turn on their problem solving skills. The only thing you need to do is just learn how to use the word how as often as you can. How?
Okay, so how's this gonna work? Was
Mhm.
okay, gotcha. God, I should have met you a long time ago.
It's my favorite parenting hack. And if they ask you why, you say, I don't know. Why do you think?
Mm, because a why always comes.
Yep. I don't know. Why do you think? Then again, they have to use their problem solving skills on why they think that is the way it is.
I am loving this. This is awesome. Awesome. So, like parents, can they reach out to you from any part of the country and implement your program?
Absolutely. So with our SoCE circle, there's a free level you can sign up and it's completely free. You don't pay anything. And at that level, you get a weekly challenge every week of something that you can do in 15 to 30 minutes at home to practice financial literacy, leadership, or entrepreneurship with your kids. You don't have to pay anything and you just spend half an hour a week building these skills with your kids. But there are other paid options in that program as well where you can get lesson plans that you can teach with small groups or with your kids. You can get access to our full programs, everything I teach. You can even pilot programs and give me feedback on how to make them better.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So, how do parents connect with you?
So the easiest way to get to that website, it's SKOOL.com/SOCEICT. No, not ICT, CIRCLE.
Uh,
SoCE Circle. It's the SoCE Circle. And you can go also to our website, SoCE, it's SOCEICT.org. And you can go to our website and click the SoCE Circle button and it'll take you right there.
oh, okay. Okay. I don't think I have that website. I have the Society of Children Entrepreneurs.org.
SoCE ICT is a shortcut that will take you to the same website. So
Oh,
on that
okay.
societyofchildentrepreneurs.org, if you just go over to the side, there's one that says SoCE Circle, and you can just click right on there and it'll take you right to that online platform and you can be a part of our online community.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, what's the youngest ages that you believe it's good to start with?
Well, I started my daughter when she was 4.
Okay.
And I really think you can. If you have the ability to sit down and start talking to your kid and really be honest with them about the steps of entrepreneurship and a really small group, one-on-one, or maybe just your 2 or 3 kids that are at your house, you can start teaching them at 4 or 5. For my larger programs where I'm teaching in a classroom setting, I start at 6. And I tell people that in order for me to start teaching your kid how to run a business, I need to know that they can add and subtract within 20. Because I need to know that if a customer gives them a $20 bill, they can do the subtraction to give the customer their change. And
Okay.
as long as they can give their customer their change, I can start teaching them the pieces of entrepreneurship and business and problem solving. And then we just layer onto that base the older they get.
Okay. Okay. And I see the ages run from 6 to 17. So at the teen level, give us a little scenario of what that might look like.
So at the teen level, we're not talking about like, what is your business going to be? What are you going to make? We start talking about like, how are you marketing this? What's your long-term mission and vision for this program? What's your strategic plan to make sure that this is going to be sustainable long-term? When you finish high school and go to college, is this something you're going to continue running as a side hustle? Is this going to become your full-time job? Are you going to sell it to pay for college? What is your legacy plan and your exit plan for this business? Because at this point, we're looking at you becoming an adult business owner and not a kid with a hobby anymore. So how are we going to build this to be really firm?
Okay. Okay. So at that age, the young age, okay, of course they're not doing LLCs and all of that stuff because that's way. So how's that work? Let's say they continue to do it at the teen level, and then they say to you, well, you know what? I want this to be my full-time thing, or I want this to be my part-time thing.
So it depends on your state and what the laws are in your state. Some states have what they call a lemonade stand law that reduce red tape that child entrepreneurs have to go through so kids can run businesses without having to pay their state the same kind of rules that adults have to follow. Here in Kansas, we do not have a lemonade stand law. So our kiddos are any child-owned business is allowed to sell 2 times per year without having to remit sales tax or register with the Secretary of State or get licensed. So we can only allow our children 2 sales events per business. So which is why several of our members will have multiple businesses so they can get more experience. But we're working on a law here in Kansas that would allow children to earn up to $10,000 a year without having to register or remit sales tax. And once that law passes, kids will have the opportunity to really build something and earn good money. And once they hit that 16, 17, 18-year-old age range, then we start looking at what are the steps that we need to do to connect you from a child entrepreneurship program to an entrepreneurship program like the Small Business Development Center or the Small Business Association to start building all of those legal requirements that you need as an adult with a business that is a full-time or part-time job.
Yes, and I think states should have some kind of stipulation for kids because that's the next generation.
Yep.
They're the ones that are going to be carrying the torch, and the more we can teach them, the better off society is as a whole.
Absolutely. And so that is why specifically I wrote the lemonade stand law here for Kansas and why we did so much lobbying to have it passed this year. Unfortunately, the legislative session is just too short to get everything done that needs to get done. So we're going to continue working on it next year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they just, I don't know. I wish I could work that little bit of time and be all right.
Me too.
For
Me
sure.
too.
And that's
Work,
important.
yeah. If I could work January to March and be done for the year, I would be a very happy camper.
Who you telling? And still live comfortably? Oh my God, that would be heaven.
Right, right. So, I mean, I love our legislators, and I mean, I had a lot of really great sponsors that were helping us a lot with our bill, but we weren't fast enough this year, and we'll go into it again next year, and we'll get it passed. And in 2027, the laws here in Kansas are going to be really cool. And anybody who's interested in a lemonade stand law in their state can copy the drafts that we've written here in Kansas and introduce them in your states as well, and we can make it nationwide.
Yes, and I can see this being nationwide because this is important.
Absolutely.
So if people want to support what you're doing, how do they do that?
Well, we're a 501(c)(3), which means we're broke. So feel free to donate on our website. There are several different donation links. You can donate to specific projects. You can donate to the general fund. Always feel free to donate. But if you are local and you want to teach a class, come teach the kids with me. And then wherever you are, find the child entrepreneurs in your area and support their businesses and help them grow because they are amazing leaders already. I actually have a little bone to pick with the phrase children are the future because it's a scapegoat to not give kids any power now. So I say that children are not the future. They're the students of leadership right now. And if we want them to be good students, we have to give them access to practice.
Yes, exactly. And that definitely makes sense to me, because they can't know what they don't know unless we teach them.
Right. And so I feel like when we say, oh, the children of the future, the children of the future, then it gives us an excuse not to teach them today because they can deal with it later. And when we tell that to kids, and they tell us, we have this great idea. And then we say, oh, not yet, wait until you're older. And then they say, we have this great idea. And you say, shh, let the grown-ups handle it. And then eventually the kids are like, well, why should I even bother speaking up? Because they're just going to tell me my ideas. I'm too young anyway.
And you
And
know
then
what?
we end up,
I don't even think about it that way. I think that you need to teach children young because I homeschooled.
yeah,
And at 4 years old, my son was cursive writing, doing counting.
yeah,
I could already see that he liked art. And, once I saw his interest, I just encouraged him.
yeah.
6 years old, he had his own little savings account. I taught him how to fill out the bank slip and do all of that because to me, he needed to know those things early.
Right. And if you have an opportunity to teach a child something because they want to know, do
Right.
not ever pass up that opportunity. Do not
Ever.
ever tell them they don't need to know yet. Teach it to them right now, even if you have to teach it to them in an age appropriate way and come back and layer that knowledge later.
Yes.
Education is a scaffolding. You start with a base and you build on top of it. There's nothing that they don't have the ability to comprehend the base of.
Yes, you're right. And even when I was working, like if I was sitting there paying bills or whatever, I would have him on my lap and he would put the stamp on each envelope for me.
Yeah.
I kind of made him a part of a lot of different things that I was doing because my background is technology. So when he was a baby, I bought him his own computer. I bought him little programs where he just bang on the keys and color the show on the screen and different
Yeah.
things would show. Of course, he liked putting objects in the CD-ROM drive, you know, but that was his computer
Yeah.
to do what he wanted to do with and kept him off of mine where the real work was happening.
Right. Right.
Yes. So
Um,
I think what you're doing is amazing and it's definitely important and never, in my opinion, never, ever, ever say a child can't do it. Let them
um,
try.
Right. And ask them how. If they want to do it and you don't think they can, ask them how and let them tell you how they're going to do it because they have an answer. I promise you, they will have an answer.
Yes. And they're definitely going to give you the why.
Mm-hmm.
So you
That
need
for
to,
sure.
they always have why, and one why leads to another why and another why, and it's infinite.
Yes, but think about all the bases that they're learning when they do that. And the skills and the logic and the connections that they're making and those little pieces of their brains, all the things that they are building. And when you
Yes.
start layering in entrepreneurship, problem solving, financial literacy, creativity into those subconscious beliefs that you build into them when they're 3, 4, 5 years old. I mean, it's
Yes.
Week of the Young Child right now through the National Association of the Education of Young Children. So it's like a week of focusing on how do you educate those kids under 6? What do you do to them? And how do you teach them? And entrepreneurship for me, it starts with the 2-year-old who tells you they're going to put on their own shoes. That little,
Mhm.
I do it myself. That's the start of their autonomy and the start of their leadership. When they pick out their own clothes and you let them do it, you're teaching them their own thoughts matter. And that's what leads them to have the confidence to say, well, I have this business idea and this is how I think it's going to work.
Yes. Yes. And you're so right. Wow. This is amazing. I'm just, I'm like, I never know who I'm going to meet. And I always meet people that are over the top and always outside the box thinkers. And I love
Yep.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let me ask a question. So you talked a little bit about nationwide stuff because I already see this becoming contagious
That's my goal.
across the states because, right now, children are going through a lot.
Yeah.
They're seeing things they shouldn't be seeing at
And they
such
feel
young,
powerless.
exactly, and they feel powerless.
Yep.
And have allowing them to be creative in their way is important because it gives them some meaning. It gives them meaning. It also gives them something they control.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much social and emotional learning, problem solving, creativity, so many things that you can learn through business ownership that isn't something that you only are able to learn when you're 18 or 21 or 25. You can start them when you're 6. And so I think one of the reasons why I love teaching entrepreneurship to kids so much is because these kids are so confident when they walk into a room. They're not nervous about who's going to be there. They're not nervous about what they're going to say. Um, I had the youngest child to ever testify in front of the Kansas State House of Taxation. My
Wow.
7-year-old testified on why they should change the law to allow children to run businesses. And
Wow.
she walked up and she read her script and she looked at those representatives like they were just people who needed to know her message.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And they can do it.
Oh, yeah. They will blow you away. They can do it better than we can because they don't have all the years of nerves and anxiety and cynicism built up inside of them.
Right, exactly. They come from a pure heart. This is what it is, and this
Yeah.
is why.
And to be completely honest, most of the time the kids don't have a hidden agenda.
No,
Like
they
they're
don't.
pretty much cards on the table. This is what I've got. This is what I want.
Right, exactly. They don't even they don't know about hidden agendas.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. They're willing to just say, like, we have a common goal or we don't have a common goal, and this is what we're going to do about it.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what
Straight.
makes them such fantastic business owners is because they're willing to say, like, my business's job is to do this thing. Do you want this thing or not?
Yes, exactly. And then if you do, thank you. Let's do it. If you don't, have a good day.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, thank you. Send me your friends who do.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're amazing. We do our children's business fairs. We have 6 this year, and it's amazing to see these kids light up in front of their customers and selling their product and talking about why they do it. One girl last weekend had a donation jar for the Humane Society and said when she grows up, she's going to be a vet. But in the meantime, she's running her business and collecting donations for the Humane Society everywhere she goes.
Wow. And I've seen them because I think I saw this kid on TikTok recently that was doing a recycle thing with plastic.
Yep.
And then they were turning that plastic into furniture.
Yep. And they make toys out of recycled milk jugs.
Yeah.
And my daughter just won a pitch contest because she created a reusable birthday party decoration business where you can rent decorations for your pet's birthday party and then just mail them back to her.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
they're brilliant. All of these little kids. We as adults need to ask a question and then be quiet and listen to the answer.
Yes, exactly. And not snuff them out because doing so is not a good thing because then you make
One,
them feel like they doing said something wrong. They're not valued.
well, and we're robbing ourselves of our own future.
Yes. And you're right. We are. We are. Wow, Leah. I am so happy to have met you.
Thank you. I
And
hope I can inspire you and your listeners to go ask some kids how they want to see the world change.
yes, exactly, because I know how I want to see it change. And I'm sure they've got some great changes.
Oh, definitely.
I'm sure they do. So again, how do people connect with you, Leah?
Like I said, the easiest way is SoCEICT.org. SoCEICT.org. That has all of our stuff, our blog, our donation links, everything. And then you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at the Society of Child Entrepreneurs. And you can see pictures and videos and all the things that the kids are doing.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to go out and take a look and make sure I get that information because I don't have that in your show notes, your social media handles. So
I can
make
do
sure
that.
I get that. Yeah, so thank you so much for this eye-opening conversation. I am so blessed to have met you and to learn about what you do. And I know my audience is going to be thrilled with this
Perfect.
content because who doesn't love children?
Right? And
So,
all the things they can do.
yes, 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 indeed. So thank you so much for taking time out. And audience, thank you as well. We appreciate you.
You.